We're about to make another fantastic border today. This layout will use 2 sheets of paper, one to make the background, which I've chosen this, and I'm using 1 sheet to be the border. However, the reason I'm only using 1 sheet is because this side is actually going to be my upper layer, and this is going to be my matte or my underlayer. So when choosing your papers, you want a paper that both sides are going to look good against the background, and that one side will also make a good background. Now, I really considered using this paper as the matte, and this is the upper layer, and I really do like that. However, I want to show that this layout can be made with just 2 sheets of paper. So this will be my matte or underlayer, and this will be my main theme layer. And this is my background. And here are my photos. A couple of SeaWorld photos. Both these papers, as well as this one, came from an older collection called I Am Grateful To. So this is the pattern paper that we're going to make our borders with. And we're going to use our ripple side of our custom border template. Now my photos are landscape, horizontal. So I want my borders to go vertically this time. So the paper that I'm using does not have a direction. But if it did, I would make sure that I managed it in a way that would allow it to be in a vertical direction. So I'm going to cut 3 strips, 3.5 inches wide. Now you can use any papers to cut these strips. I'm just cutting them from this 1 sheet of paper, sort of being conservative on my paper. I'm going to cut my 3 strips at 3.5 inches by 12 inches. Now, if your paper has some type of a pattern in it that mattered, if it's either directional or a horizontal scenic design, keep that in mind as you choose when and where you'll cut your paper. And this final piece we will discard and not use. We'll save it for another layout. So now we have our 3 strips of paper that we have at 3.5 inches wide. We're going to call them strip 1, strip 2, and strip 3. And we're going to take strip number 2 and turn it face down. So now strip 1 and strip 3 are face up, but strip number 2 is face down. This is going to be the mat that is going to go underneath strip number 1. So 1 and 2 are going to eventually be together. The next thing I want to point out is I'm using my 13 by 13 inch mat, and I've extended my 6-inch line just using a pencil. I extended it to the very edge of the mat. I did it at the top, and I also penciled it in at the bottom. These templates have these little lines that kind of designate where the red blade, the green blade, and the blue blade will be cutting. This is on this outer tab of the template. They also have these 3 lines. And today, these are the lines I'm going to be using. Specifically, this outer line right here. That's the line I'm going to be lining my template up with. This third line over. Now you could call it the blue line, but I'll be cutting with my red blade. So when I say I'm putting this line on a specific number on my 13 by 13 inch mat, this is the line I'm talking about. Okay, we're picking up strip number 1. And we're going to put the upper right-hand corner of strip number 1 on the 6-inch line, the upper right corner. And then we're going to tilt over and get our lower left corner also on the 6-inch line. When you do this, you'll see that that's why you needed that line extension, because it's going to cover up the line that was already on the mat. So now we have our paper on the 6-inch line. Let's bring it up for a close-up. And now we have our upper right-hand corner on the 6-inch line. And now our lower left side is on the 6-inch line. So now we're going to put our little third line here also on the 6-inch line. Now this is a bit of a slant, so I'm talking about this point right here that's at this edge of the blade. We want that to touch the 6-inch line. And that's another reason for extending that line with a pencil, so you'll see exactly where that 6 inches falls. Okay, I have my paper and my template where I want them, but I'm going to just keep that template steady by using some peel and place tape. And now I'm pulling out my red blade, and now I'm going to cut using my red blade. And this is my first cut. This is strip number 1. I'm going to take strip number 2, which is now a dark side, a contrasting side to strip number 1, and I'm going to cut it the very same way. I'm putting my upper right corner on the 6-inch line and my lower left corner on the 6-inch line, and then I'm going to put my template on the 6-inch line. And these two really should align quite well, and they do. So we have strip number 2, okay, and finally strip number 3. we're going to cant it clockwise and put its upper left corner at the top 6-inch line and its lower right corner on the 6-inch line. And we're still putting our template in the very same place. Our template will have that same line on the 6-inch line. Now I'm putting this tape down because once I start cutting, I don't want the template or the paper to shift. I think the paper is pretty stable. So now we have cut strips 1, 2, and 3 with the ripple blade on a diagonal. The first diagonal was upper right to lower left. Second diagonal was the same, upper right to lower left. And the third was upper left to lower right. Now these are so cute, and I have to resist the temptation of playing around with the papers, but we got to move on. So our next step is to take strip number 1, and we're going to cut off a little bit of it. So now I have strip number 1. We're going to cut 1/4 of an inch from the long side of both of these pieces. 1/4. The 1/4 inch line is the edge of the gray mat on your Creative Memories 12 by 12 paper. And we're going to take away 1/4 of an inch. So just line that edge up to the edge of the gray mat and cut. We're going to do the same thing with the second piece. Line it up to the edge of the gray mat and cut away 1/4 of an inch. Our next cut is to take away 1/2 of an inch from the short side, and the 1/2 inch line is the first long line right of the gray mat. Now we have taken our piece number 1 and cut it down. So now we're going to take piece number 2 and we're going to lay these pieces on top of it, and they should line up, and they do beautifully. And so piece 1 cut down. Now we're going to adhere it to piece number 2. Now as I try to adhere them, I try to line up the curves as best as I can. So now we have our layered border with piece 1 on top of piece number 2. And so, bringing our background paper over, I'm going to first lay down piece number 3. It's a the bottom layer of this fantastic border. And now on top of it, I'm laying the layered pieces. And now we have layered our border with the bottom layer, the middle layer, and the top layer. Now, if I had used two different sheets of paper, I probably would have put another outline on this piece, but it was deliberate to not have the outline on the bottom layer. I just think this blue gives a little interest to the page. So next, I'm going to adhere this down. This is the base of our layout. I love how unusual it is. I love the curved lines, not the straight lines. It's a bit asymmetrical, but at the same time, there's symmetry in it as well. So it's a beautiful design. I think this is a great design for two photos. I also wanted to show that this design is beautiful horizontally as well as vertically. So if you wanted to make this same layout and put your borders on horizontally, it works just as well. Now I happen to have some 3.5 by 5 inch photos printed on 4x6 paper, and I asked myself, do I want to have a mat in the center? And my answer is yes, I do. So I'm going to trim these photos down, but I'm going to keep an edge of the white, and I'm going to make a block size mat to hold both photos at the same time. So I cut from the Creative Memories blue cardstock a mat that is 5 3/4 inches wide and 8 1/4 inches tall. And I'm going to put my photos right here on the mat. But before I adhere things down, I just wanted to show that I could slide this over and I could get yet another photo onto this page and it would be beautiful. I also would like to say if you had smaller prints and you wanted a third print on your page, you could do that as well. So this is a versatile style. You could put your mat horizontally. I think I'd make it a little bit wider so I wouldn't have what's called trapped white space right here where this bottom color is just peeking out. I would somehow try to cover up that trapped white space, but that would still be a beautiful design. So before I adhere everything down, I just want to say I love this design, and I usually say I will make it again, but I will just say this. In my next layout share, be on the lookout. And here is the final layout. I added, of course, the whale tail punch, and then I pulled up the Drops and Flame punch by Creative Memories, and it was a special at one point. And I'll always say, if you want them to bring back this punch, it's called Flames and Drops. Send an email to cmproductsuggestion@creativememories.com. I use the Creative Memories ABC 123's mini classic style in blue for spelling out the title. I think with this border punch, with these few elements here and here, I could add more embellishments to it, but I don't really see a need to. So I'm going to call this layout complete. Now, before we get to the close-ups, I'll ask that you leave a comment if you're going to give a try to the diagonal cut using the custom border template. And also, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and YouTube says here's another video that you may like, so I hope you'll watch it.